Hello, you're listening to Environmental Soup through the facilities of Trent Radio. Today I have an episode of Environmental Soup that is a fundraiser for the facilities of Trent Radio. I will go behind the scenes and show how I find information and look at some of the past episodes of Environmental Soup. And look at some of the ones that, most of the ones that are recorded. I have 5 years of recordings of Environmental Soup. And I will start talking about how I find information to talk about. And I will go to the fundraiser. I have a fundraiser page, Environmental Soup, and my personal goal is to raise $250. And you can find this by searching for Trent Radio. And over $1,000 has been raised of $9,000 of about $9,000, and the campaign ends on April 19th. And that's when the season ends. I'll start with looking at how I find information. I look at a variety of news sites. I like the National Observer. They have a climate solutions page, so I can look at some of the articles that way. Generally, I look at the news, general news, see what's happening. Usually those government announcement or environmental cuts or a report that got released. I also look at the Environmental Registry of Ontario, and I search for topics that way. I try to find some of the comments that have been made about the posting. I look at the Canadian Environmental Law Association, and without the facilities of Trent Radio, I would not be able to broadcast information about the Environmental Registry to a wider audience. I have improved my skills over the years in speaking, and I have learned about how to make radio programming, as well as YouTube. because I want to make the program archived. Sometimes I look at the Maple newspaper. Sometimes they have articles on the environment. The Norwell is an environmental focused newspaper. And CBC, I find articles from that. There's the Auditor General's report. I do look at the Auditor General of Ontario and the federal counterpart. Environmental Defense often has reports. I also look at CNN. They have a specific climate area. Some news that I don't look at BBC or the New York Times due to some of the transphobia. It's harder to find news sources. But I do, if I do come across an article, I do try to find it in another news outlet. Because sometimes I Google items to talk about. Oh, that's just CBC again. I am going to follow the news that the colony government has cut gas prices. I am concerned about that because on environmental grounds, just because of more oil will be used, and that will increase fossil fuels, greenhouse gas. And see if I can find anything that's relevant. Let's see. And then student newspapers. I do look at the author newspaper. I have it in this season of Environmental Soup, but I have looked at it in the past. It's student newspapers are good resource for finding unique perspectives on the environment, and sometimes they're not reported elsewhere. I like the Kingston Crow. I live in Kingston. Let's see. And they have environmental articles as well. And then Substack. Looking things on Substack is good. The Peterborough Current. I haven't looked at the Peterborough Current in a while. But I am interested in the Alderville First Nation grants legal personhood to Rice Lake. I made I made a video, an episode focused on Lake Winnipeg. So I can link those thoughts together I might make a video just on that article. I have a highlight feature that I use on my computer, so I can highlight things. And then sometimes I hear about government reports through volunteering, and I look at some of those reports. I try to do federal and provincial, and yeah, that's how I find information. Some of it's through networking, some of it's through looking at the newspapers. So it's a variety of a variety of methods. And yeah, I'll look at some of the videos and recordings that I've made over the years. I do have a Substack that I will be updating, and there's been about 5 years of uploads. I believe I've made videos. I made radio content before then. I've improved the thumbnails since I started, and I've changed the logo over the years. I didn't always have a logo when I started. I don't know, in short videos, I'm not sure how to make the short videos. I like the video that I've made with Patricia Wilson on the Kawartha Land Trust. That was one of my favorite episodes to make. And that was from about 5 years ago. And I've made videos with Sustainable Trent. I believe I made a video with Sustainable Trent. I made videos about some of the, I interviewed the executive director of Bike. That was a good video that I've made. Good episode. Where is it? Oh, that was about a year ago I made that video. So that was when there was changes to legislation. I reached out to organizations. Rights to Lake Winnipeg. I have that from about a year ago. I talked about how the environment and how it's all connected. Highway 413, some of the environmental issues. There was a museum about unwanted gifts. I highlighted racialized environmentalists. That I like making those videos. I did a few looks at environmental registry. There's often things going on in the environmental registry. I made a video specifically about Bill Gates. And then the two Bill 5s, Bill C5 and Bill 5, and how they're impacting the environment. Oh. Hopefully I can find that. My mic dropped. And recently I talked about the budget in Ontario and Manitoba, and I looked at the process of making an official plan. I haven't uploaded that to YouTube yet. Maybe I will once the episode is posted online. I liked looking at the environmental impacts of wool. And hopefully the wool's end very soon. I talked a lot about the impacts of different policies, municipal, federal, and provincial. Mostly provincial and municipal. Maple syrup, I talked specifically about. That was 3 years ago. And then I have a side topic. Sometimes I talk about. I have a social bread series, so I made a playlist specifically about social bread. We'll talk about things that are not necessarily directly linked to the environment. And sometimes I have stuff that make videos that don't make it onto the radio. And those are the what I made. And then I do have a SoundCloud. Some of the episodes I have is the environment and Valentine's Day. Transit in the city of Peterborough, and electric vehicles with Trisha Clarkson and Ray Scott. I liked making that video and that recording. So I might look through some of my older recordings where I don't have anything happening, because I do need to post them somewhere. And yes, I do have a Substack. I do have to upload a lot of the videos. Last upload was in January, so I do plan on uploading a lot of the videos. That I've made. And then I named the videos. There's a certain naming convention that I name them, and that's a requirement from the facilities of Trent Radio, and that also helps me organize the a lot of the video files. I'm a remote broadcaster, and yeah, I do my best to include Indigenous perspectives as well. If I find Indigenous perspectives, I like to include them. And yeah, the biggest news is, there's usually I do focus on Canadian and Ontario content a lot, specifically, but I do see that there's also news from the U.S. and it is a challenge to cover everything. I do try to cover it, but I also have other commitments as well. So I do lose some things. Sometimes I will type Trump and climate, or a U.S. leader on climate. And I'll see some of the things that are happening. Those Ontario committee, sometimes the committees. Those parliamentary committees. And I'm going to see if there's anything happening. So I don't see anything happening in the committees. Social policy. There's a standing committee on government agencies. I don't always check this, but it's mostly selections. I don't always check the committees, but when I remember to check them, they're an important resource as well. And then I do the same for the Government of Canada. allcommons.ca. And then there's also the Council of Environmental Ministries, I think that's what it's called. Canadian Council of Ministries of the Environment, CCME. They also have good information. Sometimes they have reporting. And how I got into radio, I went to college. I started radio at Durham College, and I enjoyed that. And then I liked looking at news, and so I decided to make a radio show. And then a few years passed. I ended up going to Trent University, and I volunteered at OPOG, and my friend was working at or had a radio show, and then she was also at OPOG, and I joined I applied for a radio show as well, and I've been there ever since. I've been there for over 6 years at this point, probably getting close to 10 years, and and I've enjoyed making content. And the facilities have helped me grow as a content creator. This program would not exist without the facilities and many other programs. And a lot of the programs there are a variety of ideas, storytelling, music, and I've also been a smooth operator throughout the years. I've enjoyed that. I know that it provides a valuable service to listeners, and many of you enjoy some of the music that some of the other programs have. And yeah, that is how I make my radio show. Some of the background, and then let's see. Yeah, and then I can see how many people are watching on YouTube, and I've been growing each year that I've been doing this. And let's see. I'm just going to see who's next. Give them a shout out. And here's the schedule. And I'm going to Friday podcast workshop is next at 10, and at 11 there's smooth operator. Thank you for listening, and I hope that you enjoy the rest of your day. And I wish you well on your exams, if you have any left, or well on your summer adventures.